Hi, and welcome to the fourth installment of the Romance Reader vlog. If this is your first time here, I'm glad you've found us. If this is a return trip, I guess I would say, thanks for coming back and not finding me boring in the last three. Um, I've been really busy in the last couple of weeks. I've been helping out a family friend with some stuff, and I've been a bit busy, so I haven't been able to update in a while. Um, so actually, I've only finished reading one book since the last time I updated. I just finished reading the first book in the Pink Carnation series by Lauren Willig, which is the history of the secret history of the Pink Carnation. I spoke about that in the last one. I was thinking about going back and doing that, rereading that book again, and I did. I posted on the blog about it too recently, and I mentioned how in this reread, Amy, who is the main female character in the book, seemed a lot younger than she had in the other readings I've done, and maybe that's because I've gotten a little older. Although it's only been about 2 years since I started this series, but I guess 2 years is a long time, uh, growing wise, I guess. Amy in the book is, I think, 20, and in 1803, 1804, whenever that takes place, that's normal marrying age. Now, not so much unless you grow up in one of those states where people marry really young, and New York isn't really one of those. Not generally, at least. I have started the second book, which is the Mask of the Black Tulip. I've gotten about 3 or 4 chapters in, not very far, because, like I said, I've been busy. Um, and I love this book. I really do. It's the story of Miles and Henrietta, and I love their chemistry. They have a lot of witty repartee. They grew up as I guess Miles had always thought of her as like his little sister because he was her older brother's best friend growing up, and um, this is one of those stories where the brother doesn't like the sister dating one of the brother's friends, and I don't really see that very often in historicals. It's mostly in contemporaries, and it's actually something I enjoy reading. I don't know why, I just do. And I'm going to start, after that, I'm going to start The Deception of the Emerald Ring, the third in the series. I've never actually reread that book. I've reread others in the series, but never that one, and I'm looking forward to that because I really liked that book too. It was one of those I categorize it as surprise, honey, I'm a spy type of books, and I really enjoy that. I enjoy people learning things like that and then being thrust into these situations where they never thought they'd be involved in. Espionage is one of my favorite surprises. Although I probably wouldn't like it too much in real life. It would be fun for like a minute and then, I'd be shot at. And I don't think I could do that. Which is why, after finishing my master's degree, I didn't try to become a cop. Because I didn't want to be shot at. Now, what I really want to talk about today is that when I was out earlier at CVS, I noticed that Allison Brennan has a new romantic thriller out called Cold Snap. And I was very torn over whether or not to buy it because I had read all of the Kincaid novels up until she decided to spin them off into the Lucy Kincaid series. And I tried reading that one and it just didn't click for me. I don't know why. I know a lot of people who had loved her earlier stuff still enjoy the Lucy Kincaid novels, and I just couldn't get through how. I think I made it to like 47% on my Kindle version, and I was like, you know what? I couldn't do it. It was very slow. It took me 2 weeks to read half of it, and it really shouldn't have taken me that long. I've even reread some of her earlier ones that involved the Kincaid family, but not specifically Lucy. And I loved those. I did. Um, Maybe what I had a problem with was that Lucy was working in victim services, and at that point when I read the book, that was really where I wanted to be. I wanted to do that type of thing, and I just couldn't get past all the crazy shit she was doing that wouldn't be done in victim services. And there were some things mentioned. I believe they mentioned a Corey, which isn't a real thing, and it was nice to see those little shout outs in there, but I couldn't get past all the crap that happened with that. And I had actually been really looking forward to that series because the last of the Kincaid series had to do with Lucy as well, although she wasn't one of the main characters. She was one of the off to the side family members. And I forget what it was called. It was one of the evil books. Uh, when she was doing the Kincaid series, they were all in like trilogies where it was Hunting Evil or I don't know, something. No, Hunting Evil, I think something else. But she had a whole bunch where it was uh, three in a row with the same tag in it: fear, evil, bunch like that. And the last one involved Lucy, where she stupidly got involved with someone on the internet and was kidnapped and was raped over the internet on webcam, and her older brothers had to come to her rescue. Um, and I really enjoyed that book. I think that one was Dylan's novel, if I'm remembering correctly. It's been a while since I read it. Um, and I'm guessing that Cold Snap is kind of a mixture of the two, the Kincaid and the Lucy Kincaid series, because in the book's description, it talks about her brother Patrick and another woman, Ella. But then halfway down through the description, it then starts talking about Lucy and her boyfriend Sean. And I kind of got put off on that. I was like, I couldn't. I think I'm going to have to look at the reviews on Book Likes or Amazon just to see what people say about it, how much of it is really about Lucy and how much of it is about Patrick. Because Patrick is someone I wanted to read about as well. In the book where Lucy is kidnapped and raped, Patrick ends up being stuck in an explosion, and he nearly dies. He goes into a coma, and I don't remember. Oh, maybe that wasn't the last book in that series. There were a couple others after that. That's right. I don't think he's out of the coma at the end of that book. I think it's one of the later ones that he comes out of it. And I was really interested to see how that would be written. How, having woken up from a coma, I believe he was in there for a while too. I mean, not Johnny Smith, the Dead Zone while, but a while. Um, yeah, if you can't tell by my handle, I do really like science fiction, and I hated that book. I hated the Dead Zone book, but I really liked the series that was on USA for a while, and then it got weird. I couldn't finish that series on television, and that seems to happen to me a lot. I know this is a little bit off topic, but I'll get into a TV series, and then all of a sudden, I guess I jumped the shark kind of with me. Um, I had been a big fan of White Collar uh, on USA. I love USA. I don't know why, I just do. I'd been a big fan of that, and then beginning of this season, I just couldn't watch it anymore. I don't know why. Maybe it was that they put that one guy, Crowley, Mark Shepard. Crowley from Supernatural, played by Mark Shepard, who's in like every science fiction show ever, going all the way back to I think the X-Files. Although I didn't see his episode, I saw it on his IMDb, but I'm sure he was on there because hello, he's in everything. um, but anyway, maybe it's just maybe I can't stay with a series for a long time. I mean, there are some shows that I've been with since the beginning and have stayed with, like Psych, another USA show. That one started in 2006 and I'm still on it. And it's last season. I can't believe it's ending. Um, and maybe series just don't hold my attention for very long because I seem to have problems with that with books as well. The only one that seems to be holding my attention at all lately is the In-Depth series. I'm up to date on that, and I guess the Pink Carnation because I'm up to date with that as well. But I've only been reading them for 2 years, so we'll see what happens. Um, yeah, I seem to maybe my attention span isn't all that great when it comes to series that are books and books and books long. I did manage to stay with Harry Potter, all 7 books, and then all 8 movies. um, but I guess it needs to have something in it that makes me really want to stay, and the Lucy Kincaids didn't. Um, so there have been a few book sales recently, and I've posted about them on the blog. There's, I believe, a whole bunch of Jill Shalvis novels are still on sale. That includes the Wilder series. I posted about that one. All 3 of those books had been under $3 on Amazon, and I think on Barnes and Noble as well. And her Lucky Harbor series was on sale for a while as well. I believe today, the 31st of January, is the last day of the Rosie Project being on sale, and I can't tell you how much I like that book. There were problems with it, which I've said before, and I didn't really like the way that they treated the autism aspect, but I did kind of like seeing that type of person falling in love. And it's kind of like watching The Big Bang Theory and having Sheldon falling for Amy over time. And I think that's kind of where that book was going. It just took a lot faster for the main character in that to fall for his girlfriend. And I'm blanking on their names right now. That is not good since I loved that book. I believe it's still $1.99 or $2.99, something like that. But if you want to pick it up, you better pick it up fast because it sale ends at midnight. It was part of the 30-day Kindle deal on Amazon. And by the way, that is being turned into a movie. I don't know if I'm going to see it because I think movies tend to ruin books. The only ones that I've actually been able to deal with that were first books that were into movies was Harry Potter, although there were a couple. The 6th movie was very not like the 6th book, which was kind of a letdown, but the 7th and 8th movies were really good. There were a couple things in the last 2 movies that I think should have, a couple things in the last book that should have been in the last movies weren't in there, and those were things that dealt with Harry's family, with Dudley specifically, because if you've read the last 2 books, they talk about how Dudley was trying to make things up to Harry, and he felt bad. He knew that Harry had saved his life in the 5th book, something that was also taken out of the 5th movie. And I guess maybe that's why it was taken out of. Well, I mean, it wasn't really taken out of the 5th movie. It was really just truncated, I guess, because they had Harry save him and bring him home to Vernon and Petunia. But in the book, Petunia talks more about how she knows about Dementors and she knows about Azkaban because of things that had been said by her sister and brother-in-law, Harry's parents. But in the movie, that's all brushed aside, and they don't let Harry give Dudley the chocolate, and Dudley doesn't say, "Oh, Harry saved me. He didn't do this." It was just, whatever. It was left out, and I thought it was stupid for them to have done that because I liked that idea. I liked the idea that he did have a connection with his aunt and his cousin through his parents, and I liked that in the books, and I was upset it was taken out of the movie. Anyway, although there is actually one movie that I like better than a book, and that's Practical Magic by Alice Hoffman. Maybe it's because I saw the movie first and I saw it a lot of times, but I didn't like the book all that much. I read the book a few years ago, and it was very different from the movie, and maybe that's why I was disappointed. Maybe it's because I've seen the movie so many times that it was disappointing. But the movie, if you've seen the movie, the 2 little girls are much younger than they are in the book. In the book, they're teenagers and they're going through all that crazy teenage shit. And the in the movie, the only one that has a romance at all is the mother, is Sandra Bullock's character, Sally. But in the book, both of them have a romance, Sally and Jillian. And I think that's the one part of the movie that I would have changed. I would have had Jillian actually involved with someone, but I think the movie really only plays a tiny part of that book, and I don't know. It probably wouldn't work for people who haven't seen who've read the book first, the way most people do. I've read the book second, which is not usually the way things work. And it's usually why people don't like them as much as they like the movie, because they've seen the movie first. That's also why I didn't like the Sound of Music Live back in December, starring Carrie Underwood. Oh boy, no. Oh, she was awful. She was just plain awful as Maria. If she could act, it would have been great. Well, it wouldn't have been great, but it would have been good for her that she could act. But she can't act. She kept staring at the camera, and I guess no one said to her, "Hey, Carrie, don't do that." Stephen Moyer was alright acting, but he wasn't that great singing. The only good thing about that was Audra McDonald. I loved her version of Climb Every Mountain. It was so nice. But I had heard that on the Christmas tree lighting, so I didn't really need to see the whole thing. But I'm told that the Broadway play is very much like that, and I guess I'd be really disappointed if I went to see the Broadway play. And I knew it was different from the movie because I knew there were songs cut out of the movie that were in the Broadway play, but I figured it would probably follow the same type of storyline as the movie, but it doesn't. The goat song was sung where My Favorite Things is usually sung, and My Favorite Things is sung with Audra McDonald's character, the Mother Superior, which was just plain weird to me. Maybe they just felt they needed Audra McDonald to sing some more because she is a big Broadway name. But that it was just a weird placement for the goat song. As soon as it was, I had a copy of the DVD of the movie, but I lost it in Hurricane Sandy and haven't replaced it yet. So when that came on at Christmas time on ABC, I made sure to watch it because I needed to get that awful live version out of my head. I am glad that they did a Broadway show live on TV because I love Broadway and I love being able to see musicals. So I'm hoping that I do know that they're in talks to do another live Broadway musical on TV. I'm not sure which one. I would love to see maybe Footloose live because I know that was on Broadway at one point, or Grease. But then again, those two are very well-known movies, and I think that might be a problem for me because I've seen the movies so many times that the play might not be as I might not like it as much. And I think that's my fear if they were to do that now. Maybe if they did Cinderella. I do like the 1997 Whitney Houston and Brandy version of Cinderella, but I think I would like to see the Broadway version because that is that version is based on the Broadway play with all the Rodgers and Hammerstein Broadway songs. So I think I could deal with that. I think it's pretty faithful to what the show is. My cousin went to go see it recently and she said it was really good. The version that they have on Broadway now, although I think it's going to be a little weird with Fran Drescher starring as the stepmother, because as far as I know, she can't sing, and the stepmother definitely does. And Carly Rae Jepsen is going to be Cinderella, which is a little strange too. But at least we know she can sing. Okay, I know I went off on a couple of tangents today with other things, but if you look at the blog on top, it says all things romance, books, movies, music, television. And most of the time I do focus on books, but this time I did go off into movies and TV a little bit. So I don't know if I'm going to cut that out or not. Probably not, because television and movies are a big part of what I like to do in my free time. So if you've stayed with me the whole time, I'm glad. I hope you come back for the 5th installment. Not sure when that's going to be. But you can follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/theromancereader. You can subscribe to the blog, which is theromancereader.wordpress.com. And you can like me specifically on Twitter at sci-fi girl 1986. And I hope you find some books that you really enjoy, or TV shows, or whatever you do in your leisure time, but especially books.